So you're starting a weight loss or Weight Watchers journey. Where do you get started so that you have the best course of success? I'm about to give you my top tips. And honestly, you could be brand new, or maybe you are returning to a weight loss journey or Weight Watchers, or maybe you just like my tips and you're tuning in. I think everyone's going to get something out of this video. If you add a Weight Watchers wellness weight loss journey to your life, you're going to have to say yes to that and maybe no to some other things, because I probably could guarantee that your life is pretty full and busy and maybe stressful and overwhelming. I mean, let's face it, you're trying to change behaviors that you've probably had ingrained in you since you were an adult, an early adult, or a child. You're adding new habits and routines that you've maybe tried before and then fallen off the bandwagon, or never tried before. And we know that change is complicated and change is challenging. In the past, I used to think, oh, I'm going to do Weight Watchers and I'm just going to plug it into the life that I'm already doing and it'll be all hunky-dory, without realizing that saying yes to Weight Watchers needed to require extra time on my part, because it's using the app, tracking the food. That's extra time added to the day. It's a lot of internal dialogue, talking to myself. Am I really hungry? Do I really want this? Do I have the points? What could I have instead? It's a lot of decisions that I wasn't used to making before, a lot of checks and balances and shifting things around that required energy that I hadn't plugged into my day before. So the bottom line here is, when you make this decision, take a look at your life and try to maybe pare back some things, take them off your plate, reduce it so that you can expand the time during your day, which you're going to need to focus on this journey, to give it attention, which is important. The next tip is make 0 Point foods the main event. So your 0 Point foods really are going to be the structure, the base, the foundation that you build your entire snack, your entire meal, your entire dessert around. So as you're beginning, you might not have the chance to really memorize all the 0 Point foods. So just remember RPP. So the first R stands for rainbow. And I think that's kind of a fun, visual, easy to remember way that just throughout the week, without adding a ton of pressure to yourself, just be checking in for each of your meals. Is it a rainbow of colors? And when you're at the grocery store, we're always trying to grab onto life rafts, anchors that are easy to remember, produce and protein. So you're just checking in. Those are your 0 Point foods, right? So your produce, filling up, I tried to do half of my plate with produce, and then I focused on protein, and then I would add in a little bit of the starch or the carb. The 0 Point foods are your flavor boosters, your grab and go snacks. You build your meal around the 0 Point food. So when you're planning for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's always, okay, what's going to be the produce? What's going to be the protein? For the love of everything good, please build up to tracking. I don't think this is talked enough about. Going straight into tracking when you have not been paying attention to what you've been eating can be very jarring for the system. Okay, I had to switch up my location because it is the weirdest day today. It is a stormy day here in summer, where it's hot and muggy in California, but it's a cloudy sky. And so it's so bright, I had to switch to get to a better spot where I could see you. I think what we tend to forget is that we're making big changes. We are making earthquakes inside of our internal world we are forcing it to do behaviors and habits it's never done before, and that feels alarming to it. So then say, I'm going to track perfectly. It can be a lot for our internal world. So my suggestion is start small and build up, ramp up. Maybe start with just tracking 1 day a week, and then add in each subsequent week another day until you get to a full week. Or maybe try tracking just your breakfast, and then the following week add in your lunch. So you see there's this layering approach. So what I want you to ask yourself as you begin your journey is, am I layering in these habits, or am I just ripping off the Band-Aid and changing my whole life. The next tip is take lots of pictures. I started documenting myself from the get-go. I took a photograph of the scale at my highest weight. I made sure to take photographs in front of the mirror, in just like my underwear and my bra. I mean, these weren't for anybody to see. Photos, I used to set up my phone and just video myself working out. It's just so important to document every step of this journey, because where the scale might not be showing your progress as you go, you will be able to notice it in your photos. And as you start to lose weight, you'll want to go back and really see a side-by-side by how far you've come. And that side-by-side can give you that extra momentum to like, this is worth it. I see the progress. I started seeing it like immediately in my face. Start a dedicated notebook, journal, something that at least once a week or at least once a month, you're outside of the app that you're using and you're doing some throughout your journey deep reflecting. You start by listing victories that you're having. So sitting once a week and thinking about what victories did I have, and try to list at least 2. These are non-scale victories. I want you to notice when you see your behaviors changing. When you notice, oh my gosh, I used to do this, and look at me now, I made this choice this week. And I want you to document this throughout your journey. And what's cool about this is that every week or every month when you sit down, you can go back and read what you already wrote. So we're just trying to like massage into your sweet little brain, like how hard you're working, how much you're growing and changing, and how much this is worth it. So in this journal, you could have your why written, like why you're doing this journey and why it's so important. You could have this, what I'm talking about, where you constantly document your non-scale victories, your beginning of the month reflections and goals, and then your end of the month reflections and goals. I wouldn't recommend making this journal a place where you're writing down your weight or tracking anything that's intense like your measurements. This is like your safe space journal where you just get to connect and celebrate and think about how you're evolving. This next beginner tip is called the cut in half, put it back. Does that kind of have a nice ring to it? So fill your plate like you normally would, pre-Weight Watchers, pre your weight loss journey. Just do it like you normally would, and then pause and choose either one item or however you want to do it, but pause and then put half back or put a little back. This is going to help from a beginner's mindset to help you with the process of really looking at your food and acknowledging that your life is shifting, you're changing, you're dialing down a little bit your portion control, because we're trying to tune into our bodies to look for cues that we're satisfied. Before my weight loss journey, I would fill my plate to the brim and then eat it all because it was all on my plate. And I was such a fast eater and I was just using food for comfort that I never stopped to think, oh, after this many bites, how am I feeling? Am I full? Am I satisfied? Do I want more? You could fill up a normal plate and then put some halves back, and then you can always go back for seconds. But your internal world is going to be glad that you like at least let them put everything on the plate so they get a little bit of like feeling of, oh, things aren't changing up on us too much. But then you're like picking the one item on the plate to put the half back. And you're telling your body, hey, we can go back for more if we want. But this is just to ease us into this. Another thing you can try as a beginner is switching up your plates. Maybe pushing to the back of the cabinet the bigger plates and bringing to the front the salad plates, or having those more easily, readily available, or the small bowls, and pulling those out first. Or maybe filling the big plate, and I know this is the extra step, and then transferring it to a smaller plate. And whatever doesn't fit, you leave on the big plate, and you can always go back for more, but you're starting to get this visual click-in of representation of portions. Okay, next tip, anything that comes in your house, if you're on Weight Watchers, you have your Sharpie and the point value gets immediately added to it. This whole journey, you're gonna have to be checking in. Is this habit that I'm shifting, if I just go cold turkey, going to rile me up so much that I want to turn to food? If going to the grocery store and using the barcode scanner makes you on edge because now you're really paying attention to the points, you might love it, then keep doing it. But if you find it kind of makes you on edge, okay, fine. You're easing into this. You're working with yourself. It's like you're bargaining. It's like you're the car salesman that's like bargaining with yourself for the best deal, like giving an inch. So you're giving an inch to the old part of you that's scared of change, but you're making that old part of you also give an inch. You're not like black or white, all or nothing thinking. The beginning of your Weight Watchers journey, I need you to do bargaining with the old version of you and the version that you hope to become. Instead of trying to just be the version you want to become, I need you to have a lot of love and a lot of respect for the part of you that is brave enough to start this journey. So to make that part of you change and just boss it around is not respectful, and they're going to revolt. So they deserve respect, the part of you currently now that's starting, that's taken the brave move to start, and they don't deserve you to just throw their whole life up into the air and expect it to all change. So you're constantly thinking about, is this too much? Am I pushing too hard? We'll dial back a little bit. You tell yourself, we'll do it on your terms. I need you to work with me a little bit, but we'll go slow and steady here. So if you don't want to scan everything at the barcode with the barcode scanner in your app, like that's too much, then how about buy the food, and then when you come home, make sure that you scan it and then you use your Sharpie to put the points on the packaging. The bottom line here is getting in the habit of seeing points. How much are things worth? Because the more you can absorb that in, then it's just going to start to be a language that you speak and is second nature. Also, this way, you're still going to be in your habits of, like, I was always right after lunch, I wanted a sweet treat, or nighttime snacking. If the points value is written in Sharpie with all of these foods, when you go to grab it, you won't have that internal dialogue quite yet as a beginner to ask yourself, how much do I want? How many points? Do I really want this? But seeing the point value on that packaging is going to make you pause a little bit, because when you see those points, you can't run away from them. This is so important. Please ease into activity as a beginner. Why? Well, activity is great because you get activity points in the Weight Watchers app. And why does the Weight Watchers app give you activity points? Because you're expending, is that the word I'm looking for? You're using energy, and that's burn-in fuel. And so the Weight Watchers app wants you to get enough food so that you have fuel for the activity that you're doing. So see how that kind of makes sense? Now, when you start your journey and you're wanting to do low point foods, and then you're like suddenly deciding that you're going to do CrossFit or Orange Theory because you're the kind of person like me that wants to do it all at once and do it all perfectly. Now you're throwing your body for so many curveballs. It's like they're in a calorie deficit because the points are lower, and then you're exercising and you need to eat more, and see how it's just tilting the scales here where you can't get your footing. So I'm not saying don't do activity, but once again, it's like you're stepping in when you enter a pool and it's cold and you don't want to just like shock your whole system. So you'll just go like one step at a time. I want you to think as your starting of your Weight Watchers journey is like slowly entering a pool. So always take whatever big idea you have. That's probably something that society has made you think is really important. So take whatever that big idea is with activity, and then you're going to break it into like 10 parts and do one little part at a time. And I really like to get out a piece of paper and I let my brain like brainstorm about, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and I'm going to do this. And I'll pull one of the things like run 3 miles and I'll put it at the top of a piece of paper. Oh, people lose weight if they run 3 miles. Okay. Whoa. So I'll put run 3 miles at the top of the paper. And then I'll list all of the steps that could go into that. Like, let's just start by walking 10 minutes a day if that isn't in our normal routine. And then we'll build up to 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You're constantly thinking and asking yourself, if I start this new habit, is this going to be jarring and insensitive to the brave woman or person who took the step to start this journey? Am I putting too much pressure on her? I want to protect her. I want to set her up for success so that she feels like she can celebrate her small victories, because that's going to take her across the finish line. The next tip, what has made you stop in the past? I probably can bet that you've done multiple journeys to try to lose weight or to get to the wellness goals that you have. Make a list of what has made you, like, really get honest with yourself, really get real. What has made you stop in the past? And I want you to write it down or maybe record yourself talking it out on your phone and have a conversation with yourself. And then for your reflection time, go, okay, well, how am I going to do it different? If I always quit because I go to a vacation and then this, I'm using myself as an example, before I lost my 40 pounds, I would be on Weight Watchers. Then inevitably I would go on a vacation. I would have lost some weight. I go on the vacation and I come back, and then I'd be back to my old habits and I'd give up. So if you know that about yourself, then that should be your first plan of attack. I know that this is the pattern that always trips me up, and I'm going to brainstorm a list of how I can avoid that. And if you can't think of how to help it, reach out in the comments here and ask some questions, or maybe doing one-on-one coaching with me would be something that would really interest you, and we can brainstorm it together. You can go to my website, SheilaJaneWellness.com, and there'll be information there if you'd like to just have one-on-one time and support with me. So the most important part of this is we're not going to bury our head in the sand. We are actually going to use our failures, which they're not failures, our mistakes, as growth opportunities. You are now the captain of this ship that is going towards your destination. And as the captain of your ship, you are always going to be having to be in your captain's quarters, mapping out the journey, looking at the weather coming up ahead. You've charted the course before and you had to turn around and go back. We want to get all the way to the place you're going. So look at when you turned around before and figure out a new path. I believe in you. I want you to use your real estate very smartly for this next tip. I suggest as a beginner, the home screen and lock screen of your phone, which you are accessing all the time, should somehow display your why, somehow display a photo of you that you really resonate with, that inspires you to get healthy. Use real estate around you. Like I use bathroom mirrors. That's where I set up my whole Post-it system, where I put each pound that I had to lose and then I moved it over to a different column. But I saw it every morning when I woke up, was in the shower, got out of the bathroom. Use the real estate around you. Use the front of the fridge. Use the inside door of the pantry to write reminders to yourself or little notes to yourself. Use Post-it notes. I've done this too, where I write myself, I pretend like the food that I'm really triggered by, that I want to eat a lot of beyond my portion of what I'm satisfied with, I will make that food talk to me. And I'll write a little Post-it and put it on the food and say, like, remember when you eat me, you have a sugar crash and get anxiety? Because we're trying to build your inner dialogue, but it's going to take time to cultivate that. Because if you're anything like me, you've actually just been checked out of yourself and ignoring yourself and focused on everything else. So by having Post-its, by writing things, when you pop open your phone, you have a message or an inspiration or a quote or a picture. Use your real estate to drill into your pretty amazing, sweet little head what direction you're on and the path that you're on to keep yourself focused. If you're doing Weight Watchers, there are multiple sessions a week in the Weight Watchers app where they teach you about the app. They're called Weight Watchers 101. Please, this is about carving out that time. Get into those training sessions because there's so much that is available in the Weight Watchers app that you probably don't even know about that would make your life so much easier and get you excited, so that when you get into the app, it's not another stress. It's not like you feel glitchy, like, where am I supposed to go? This journey is hard enough in the beginning. We want you smooth sailing where you can just tootle around and get to everything you need and you know where everything is. So try to get into those training sessions. I am so, got my little friend here. I'm so excited for you. I have been off and on Weight Watchers since 2008. I recommitted in July of 2020, and the tips that I just shared with you are some of my top takeaways of why I was able to lose 40 pounds. The beginning year, the beginning 6 months of your journey is so delicate, and you need to protect it at all costs. In Weight Watchers, we call it protect your progress, but even more so when you're a beginner, because like I said, any little frustration, any little snag, because you just don't have the mental maybe resilience yet, and you're trying to make these big changes, it could just make you want to give up. I've got lots of places that we can connect. If you go to SheilaJaneWellness.com, you're going to see all the places that you can find me. So like I was talking about your environment, you know, when you get into Facebook, when you get into these social media apps, which can be such a time drain, are you following accounts that are talking about helping you on your journey? And are those the accounts that are the first things that you see when you enter the app? Because you can go into the settings and favorite that account. So it's the first, their posts are the first that you see. Health is our wealth. Health is investing in our future. Trust that deep in you, you do have an inner wisdom and an inner wise mind that might be very quiet. But if you really pause and tap into yourself, your body knows how to heal itself. Your body knows how to nourish itself. It's just the volume of the fear, the volume of the stress of your life has gotten turned up really loud, that in the beginning, we're just slowly trying to turn the dial up of your inner wellness wisdom. And it's there. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. You've got this. I'm excited for you. Also, another tip is just keep being flexible. Think of yourself as a whack-a-mole that you whack it and then it pops back up. You are the whack-a-mole. This journey is going to give you some challenges, but if you just visualize yourself as, I can handle mistakes. I can handle the challenges. I'm going to pop up. I'm going to give myself a lot of patience and a lot of grace, and I'm going to commit to doing this for the rest of my life. I think sometimes just the saying, I'm going to commit to do this for the rest of my life, is like, I don't have another choice. This is just me. This is who I am now. This is just how it's going to be. Okay, that's a wrap. We got to end it here. Stay tuned. Next week will be a podcast drop or have a chit chat about my Weight Watchers weight loss journey. And I'll see you then. Bye.